Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of the Greek New Testament, and I'm reading through Hebrews, Epistle to the Hebrews, and up to the beginning of chapter 8. And I'm just going to do the first 6 verses of this in this recording. Kephaleon de epitois legomenois toiuton ekomen archiaria. Hos ekathisen en dexiatu thronu tes megalosounes en tois uranois, ton hagion leturgos kai tes genes tes alethines, hen epex en hokurios uk anthropos. Now, kephalion, you can see you've got that kephale, the head here. This is a word often used, it's a neuter noun, often used of just heading of a work, a title. Some kind can also mean a summary, and that's the sense of it here, of a chief point. And we need to supply a verb here. So here is the chief point in regard to the things being said. It's literally, here is a heading over upon the things being said. So we would say a chief point in regard to what is being said. Toi uton ekomen archiherea. We have such a high priest or chief priest. Chief priest is probably better, I think, with this. Hos ekathesen, who sat endexia, on the right side of the throne, perhaps on the right hand. It's feminine here, so you could supply Kari or something. On the right hand of the throne of majesty, of the majesty in the heavens. Ton hagion leiturgos. Now, leiturgos means a minister or servant, but in a religious context. It's the late root here. There is a noun lite, meaning a prayer, and the org root here is from erg, the erg root of working. It's literally one who works at prayer, one who makes prayers, and hence minister, servant, or something. So a minister of the saints and of the true skene. Literally the true tent, or tabernacle as it's often translated. And this is referencing back to Moses in the Old Testament, I think. So a minister of the saints and of the true tabernacle, which the Lord epeixen, this is from peignumi. There are other regularizations of the verb, but there is a verb peignumi, which means to, well, it means to fix, but used in the context of tents, it has the sense of to pitch a tent. So this is the aorist from peignumi, which the Lord pitched, and not anthropos, a man. Pascha archierus est to prosperein, Dorotekai thusias kathistatai. For each chief priest. Now here we get this kathistatai we had in the previous chapter, meaning to be appointed. So is appointed, and we get eis top plus the infinitive, for the purpose of offering, from prospero, purpose of offering gifts, and then we get the good classical tekai. So both gifts and sacrifices. That's good classical Greek. In later Greek you don't often get the te. So every high priest is appointed so as to offer both gifts and sacrifices. Hothen, from whence, and in Chion, it is necessary for also tuton, for this man, that is the priest, I think it is, to have, ekain, ti, a certain thing, and then the relative pronoun which, and then we get a subjunctive, aorist subjunctive from prospero, he might offer. I think that's how the grammar goes here. So which, from which it is necessary, for which reason it is necessary for this one, this priest, to have tips, also to have something which he might offer. A menun ein epigeis, and we get a nice particle menun, very common in earlier Greek prose, this combination. So if therefore, now not clear really what the subject of ein is. I think most commentators take it to refer to Jesus here. So if therefore Jesus, he, were upon the earth, that is, he was one of the earthly priests, if he were upon the earth, ud an ein hierus, nor would he have been a priest. Onton, tone, prosperonton, katanomon ta dura. Now we get a genitive absolute here, since there were the ones, there being those making offerings, there were those being ones who offer the gifts according to the law. So this is rather odd here. You've got this is from participle from prospero, but it's being used as a noun here. And then we've got another verb here, the verb to be. So there being offerings, or there being those who offer gifts according to the law. So in other words, he seems to be saying that if Jesus were a priest on the earth, if he were upon the earth, he would not have been a priest, because there are other people who offer the gifts according to the law. I think that's what the sense of it is here. It is fairly obscure, I must say. Hoitines hypodegmati kai skia latruusin ton epuranion kathos kekrematistai mauses melon epitelein ten skenein horagafe sipoieses panta kataton tupon ton dekthenta soi ento ore. Now the hoitines is referring back to these ones who are making the offerings, the very ones who now latrue, this is to serve. Who serve. Now we get two datives here. It's sort of like as a figure or as an example and as a shadow of the heavenly things. So they serve perhaps an example and a shadow of the heavenly things. Latrue normally takes a dative, so I think that's what it must be here. So those who serve what is in fact simply a copy or an exemplar or an exemplar and a shadow of the heavenly things. Kathos, just as Moses, kekrematistai, this is from krematisto, meaning to warn, and this is the perfect passive, had been warned, just as Moses had been warned, he melon, plus just an ordinary infinitive, normally future infinitive, but not here, when he was about to literally complete the tabernacle, the tent, the skene. Many translators, I think, take this as translate this as to erect, but it is actually to bring to completion, to finish off. Then I suppose if you're finishing off a tent, you're erecting it, so it's not a great stretch of meaning, but there are other words for erecting a tent. Here he uses epitelein, to bring to completion. So just to do this again, so the very ones who, these are the ones making offerings, they who serve what is an example or an exemplar and a shadow of the heavenly things, just as Moses had been warned when he was about to bring to completion, to finish off the skene, the tabernacle. For, he says, this is God says, horror, look to it, and then we get a future for imperative, which is what you get in the Septuagint in the Old Testament. They use the future form for the imperative. So make all things according to the type, the one having been shown to you on the mountain. This is from Dake Numi. This is the aorist passive participle from Dake Numi, the one having been shown to you on the mountain. Nun, or nun-i, the e simply is very reinforcing, very strong. Nuni, or nun, we put the iota there. If the iota is not there, then it's a circumflex here. But now, and dia phoroteras atetuken liturgias hoso kai kretonos esti diathekes mesites. Hatis epi kretosin ep angeliais nenomorthetai. So, but now tetuken is from Tungkano. This is the perfect. So they're just using the tuk root and reduplicated, and the kappa that you get from the perfect is assimilated into the chi. So it's just a perfect from Tungkano. You don't get the perfect of Tungkano that often here, but that's what we've got. So, but now he has met with a diaphoreteros comparative, literally a very different, perhaps more excellent, liturgias. This is the abstract. We had the liturgos before. This is the abstract now, ministry. But now he has met with diaphoros from diaphora. It means to differ from, and this is the comparative, and then it comes to mean more excellent. So it differs from it because it's much better, so often translated as more excellent. He has now met with a more excellent ministry, hoso kai kretonos, inasmuch as also he is a mesites. This is an interesting word. It means mediator. I'll come back to that one. He is a mediator also of a greater diathekes, a greater covenant. So kraton is comparative from it's a comparative. We've had that before, I think. Kraton, krason in other forms. You get krason and kraton. So a greater covenant. Mesites is a word meaning a mediator. You can see the etymology of this is interesting. You've got mesos meaning the middle, and the it root here is from the Amy Ibo, and the root of that is it. It means to go. So one who goes into the middle between two groups, and hence is a mediator. So that's what the word is. So he has met with a more excellent ministry, inasmuch as also he is a mediator of a greater covenant. Hatis, the very one which, going back with the diathekes, which nenomorthetai, this is a perfect passive here. It's a funny use of the verb. It's nomothetio is the verb. It means to make a law. But it really has the sense here, often translated has been drawn up or something. So which has been set up as a law, perhaps, and then over a greater promise. Over greater promises. So perhaps, yes, upon greater promises. So which has been set up, or perhaps has been drawn up over greater promises. And there we get the dative plural from this kraton here. This is kratosim. So that's the first section of chapter 8, and I'll complete this in another recording.